defending leverage. He was amazing.
So tell me about Fautanu, who, when we look through these mock drafts, there are about 1,000 of them. He's probably it's not been a majority of the mocks that have put him to Seattle, but probably a plurality. There have been more mocks that put him here than anybody else. Tell me what we should know about Troy Fautanu.
Well, I just think, first of all, just the tenacity in which he plays with. I don't care about. He's big enough, the arm length, all that good stuff. But I just like his ability to be an athlete and to be nasty. He's a guy that if you told me I could knock 15, 20 pounds off of him, he could play defensive tackle. Like, that's the kind of athleticism that he has. And you put that at guard. So you talk about the ability to move him in, to climb to the second level, to be nasty, to bring an attitude when he gets there. I think when you talk to some of the coaches around the league, that's the biggest thing that they say, man, this guy, not only does he have the traits, but he just plays nasty and with an attitude. And when you get that kind of guy, we always hear about, hey, he's a tone setter. So what exactly does that mean? That means that's a guy that after the first play and the play's over, he's going to be the last guy that's pushing or hitting somebody. Like, he's going to set the tone of how we're going to play and what our team is going to look like that day. And you got to have that up front. If you don't have that on your offensive line, that's when your team gets called soft.
Yes. Yep, and that's been, I think, a challenge at times over the last 15 years here in Seattle. I don't know necessarily soft, but just consistent. Booger McFarland here, always consistent with us. Let's flip sides now to the other side of the line. Because, as you mentioned, there are going to be a bunch of QBs that go. There are going to be a bunch of tackles that go. There are going to be a bunch of receivers that go. I don't even know who the first defensive player is off of the board, but if Booger McFarland is picking the single best defensive player in this draft, who is he?
Latu from UCLA. And I know about the medical, and I'm sure you guys know about that. Medically retired, the neck, has the surgery, comes back, has played the last 2 years at UCLA. But if you're asking me that, health withstanding, a guy that's going to make the biggest impact in the league, I think it's him, because I think he's NFL ready, meaning he understands pass rush, understands leverage, angles, how to use his hands. He's got some moves. He's not just an athlete running around a corner. I think his production is there. If you go back and look at his production at UCLA the last 2 years, and the tape stands out. And so I just don't know what teams are going to say we're good with the neck, because there's a reason he was medically retired. I'm sure you guys probably had a ton of conversation about this kid when he was up there. Yeah. But it's just some teams are going to be cool with it and some are not. And I think that's going to determine where he goes. I think Dallas Turner, the edge guy from Alabama, is going to be the first guy picked because he's got a clean bill of health. He ran 4.4. He's an edge guy. He's 6'3", 240, so he can play in space. He can rush. He can drop. He can cover. Like, he's what I call that hybrid, where football is going to. There was a point in time, Brock, when you and I played where your defensive ends were 290. Defensive guys now that are setting the edge are 250, 260. Like, Myles Garrett is an outlier at 275, 280. Most of them look like T.J. Watt. They're long. They're slender. They can run. You can drop them if you need to. And I think Dallas Turner fits that mold. So I look for him. I don't think he gets past Atlanta at 8 because they haven't been able to rush the passer since Chuck Smith left, I don't think. So they're definitely looking for pass rush.
How about Jared Verse?
Yeah, Verse is your quintessential power player, man. Maybe a little stiff, but who cares? The production is there. The production was there at Albany. It was there at Florida State. And, Brock, you'll love this comparison. Kind of reminds me of Cam Jordan, a guy that's going to, I think, be in the Hall of Fame. More of a power player, never going to run around you. But every year you look up, Cam Jordan's got 10 to 12 sacks, and he's played for, 12, 13 years. I think if I told you that Jared Verse would be that, I think everybody would line up to take him.
Okay, I got two last questions. Because defensive linemen, they know quarterbacks too, so they're some of the best guys to talk about quarterbacks, honestly, because they can feel and they can sense.
We had Michael Bennett on. He just made fun of quarterbacks and said all they did was cry.
Well, Bennett was in his own world.
Okay.
He's still in his own world. I mean, you get someone like Boog that has a background studying them, watched them, feel. So if Michael Penix is sitting there, you taking Michael Penix in the first round?
I think that he's going to be a first-round pick. It just depends on where I'm picking. If I'm in the top 10, no, I don't think he's a top 10 player in this draft. If I'm picking 28 to 32, somewhere in there, yeah, I think I could take Michael Penix in this draft just because, he's got the most liveliest arm, and you can explain to your host what that means, Brock. Like he's got an arm that it just looks like when the ball comes off, it's different. Like it's different, and he can, he maybe he needs to work on some of the touch throws, that deep square in where he's got to layer it over that linebacker and in between that corner and that safety. Like maybe he needs to work on that. But guess what? I mean, as long as he's got that fastball, I think we can work with the other things. I just don't know how you're going to judge 2 ACLs and 2 shoulder injuries. Do you say, well, he's a quarterback and eventually they are going to get hurt? Because I truly believe that. Like, it's not if you get hurt, it's when. Everybody gets hurt in this league. So do you say he's already had his injuries and he's going to be clean for a while because he's been clean for a couple of years? Or do you say he's injury prone and his body just can't take it? I don't know how you look at it, but if we're just looking at the tape and the arm, he deserves to be a first-round pick.